I'm GD Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humourist, and welcome to Critical Joke Theory, Episode 3. Now, I usually write these things out, mainly because there's too many things in my head, and I try to make sure certain words are said and certain ideas are met, and try to make sure that I'm funny. But what happens is, when you have a piece that's really long, and you write it out and so forth, there's too many pages for me to keep track of. And so I'm just going to say this. And it's never good when it starts out. Florida man Robert Palmer was recently convicted and given 5 years sentence. Convicted and sentenced, given 5 years in prison for his part in the January 6th insurrection attempt. During his sentencing, he asked to be sentenced for only 2 years. And he says to the judge that the reason he should only get 2 years is because, he may have hit a couple of cops with fire extinguishers and flagpoles and nightsticks and whatever else he was using. Yeah, I hit some police officers, but it wasn't really my fault. I was talked into it by Trump's people. And it's not fair that I should be sentenced and they're not even charged. And the judge agreed with him. The judge says, "You're right, but it's my job to prosecute the cases that are before me now. Your case is before me, not theirs. And your case, well, you're getting 5 years. That's it. You're getting 5 years." But I understand what he's saying. He's saying that it shouldn't just be me. Okay, punish me. He's saying punish me. He says, give me 2 years, punish me. But punish the people who sent me here first. Also, punish the Trumps and the Jordans and the Stones and the people that, well, not the Rolling Stones, the Roger Stones. Well, there's only one Roger Stone. So the Stone and the Jordan and the Trumps. Now, there are more than one Trump. Both Donalds were participating in this. But he's saying punish them too. And there are a lot of other people who have been sentenced who feel the same way. Okay, punish me, or rather that don't punish me, but punish them. If you're going to punish them too. I mean, they were part of it. They started it. They invited us. Now, the reason why they were there was to protest or to stop President Biden from becoming president. And it's going to be Democrats are going to be the only ones to prosecute the people who did this. So he's saying, the people that I did not want in office, I need your help to prosecute the people who didn't want you to get in office. That's what they're all saying. They're all saying, look, help me. I need help. And I know I fucked you over, and I know I didn't want you to be president, and I know I didn't want you guys in office. I know I wanted the Republicans in charge. I wanted them to run everything. But help me. But the only way he's going to get help, the only way any of them are going to get help, is if they vote for Democrats. Which is why they were there. They didn't want Democrats in charge. So I just need you to think about that for a second. Especially people who are thinking the same thing that he's thinking. Why is he being punished? I mean, if you're a Trump supporter and you're thinking, why are they being punished when it's not their fault? Okay, you can forget the pretenses that it was Antifa and Black Lives Matter. They're admitting it. They're there. They're Trump supporters. They're there. They say why they did it. They're just saying that they think that Trump should be prosecuted as well. The people in charge. But that's why they were there, to stop the people who would help them from being there. So you think next election, them and anybody like them are going to be voting for Democrats next time around? Because, in some states they won't be able to, he won't be Robert Palmer. And it's not the other Robert Palmer I checked, the simply irresistible. It's not that Robert Palmer. I did Google it because I actually like some of his stuff, especially Looking for Clues. That's probably my favorite Robert Palmer song. And it's probably because of the video, and probably because it brings back memories more so than any artistic value. I mean, artistically, it's okay. And I like the anvil hammer sound. But Maxwell's Silver Hammer also has a hammer and an anvil sound. And that's a different point. That's why I write these things down, because the way my brain goes, I get a thing and it goes on to the next thing, and the next thing you know, I'm on another thing that wasn't the thing I started talking about. So back to the original thing. How are you going to help them? How are they going to help themselves? Well, again, Robert Palmer can't vote. He's a Florida guy. He's been convicted, so he's not going to be able to vote anyway. But his family could. His friends could. Do you think they're going to vote for Democrats so that the Republicans who did this could be punished? So not his friend, only his friend isn't punished for like this? They want support for his friend, so they're going to vote for Democrats? No. And the people that say, well, again, the people that don't want Democrats in office and want Republicans in office, but they want paid sick leave. They want the continuation of the Earned Child Tax Credit delivered on a monthly basis instead of waiting for it at the end of the year. Those people who want continuation of the Affordable Care Act and don't want that gutted but want it repaired and fixed. Those people who want better paying jobs and better rights. And they want to get rid of this fucking pandemic. You think they're going to vote for Democrats? The Democrats are the only ones that wanted to fix these things. The Republicans are not trying to fix it. That's what I'm saying. They're not trying to fix it. Okay, the whole reason why Chuck Schumer is in the shape he's in, everybody's talking about mansion, 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 cinema, cinema, cinema. That's 2 Democrats. You have 50 Republicans who are opposing it. 50 to 2, 25 to 1. And that's how the coverage is. The coverage is 25 on cinema and mansion to 1 for the Republican. Every 25 minutes they spend on mansion and cinema, they're spending 1 minute on 50 Republicans. And they're in lockstep. That's what the story should be. The story should be, there's 50 of those fuckers, and 10 of them won't help out the poor people. You can't find 10 Republicans who will say, okay, you give family leave. 10 Republicans who say, we want you to have the income, earned income child tax credit on a monthly basis. And everybody's talking about mansion. It's those 50 fucking Republicans that are doing it. If you got 10 of them, or 11, if you got 11 or 12 of them, you wouldn't need the one mansion. And Manchin, well, he's Manchin. He's a corporate. He's owned by companies. He's owned by the coal companies. He's owned by other business interests, billionaires. He won't make a move without the billionaires telling him it's okay. So, like I said, how are they going to fix it? They have to vote Democrats. Are they going to vote Democratic? That's the critical joke theory. Bad commercials. What bugs me about bad commercials is that there are people who are being paid to write these things, and there are companies that are out there hiring them and thinking, this commercial is a good idea, it makes sense, let's do it. Now, of course, quite often they don't care that it makes sense, which is why sometimes you get the off-color commercial where they're making fun of a gender or a race or a sexuality and don't realize it because all they're thinking about is, it gets our product out there. But I hate dumb commercials. So, and like, full disclosure, I hate Liberty Mutual, or as I call them, Liberty Mutual disdain for their clients. I don't like Liberty Mutual, period. The last time I talked about their helicopter commercial. This time I'm going to talk about the Spider-Man commercial, okay? They're trying to get you to think of Liberty Mutual and Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man is a fucking hero. Okay, he was my idol as a kid. But Liberty Mutual wants you to think Spider-Man, Liberty Mutual. No, because who's their spokesperson? A fucking idiot who doesn't know that Spider-Man is not real. Okay, Spider-Man is courageous. Spider-Man is wonderful. I love Spider-Man, but he's not real. But this guy, the spokesperson for Liberty Mutual, this character, Doug, puts a spider on his arm so that he can get spider powers. And that's the person you want being the spokesperson for your company? A character that's dumb? That's stupid? The emu is smart enough not to do that. That should be the spokesperson. Okay, get rid of Doug. Let the emu do all the talking. Because so far he hasn't said one bad thing yet. Or done a stupid thing yet. You haven't seen him driving. Although that's probably what happened to the car that they lost last time. But you don't know that. Okay, so this Doug guy puts the spider on his arm. And when you see him, his lip is swollen and his eye is swollen. He's getting put in the ambulance. So what happened? The arm didn't work, so it put it on his mouth. And that didn't work, so it put it on his eye. Okay, never. I'm just saying, it's a fucking stupid commercial. Stupid. Another commercial I think is stupid. I think it's for Discovery Channel or the Discovery app, Discovery Plus. And one of the things, there's this little kid, and he's chopping up cabbages. And he's watching probably I think it's Chopped, that has time's up, and everybody throws their hands up in the air and get a step away from your plate. I'm assuming that's what it is. He's chop 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 chop. Time's up, and he throws his hands up. He walks away, and he goes, "Yes." That's stupid. You know why? Time's up means your food is on the plate. You've plated your food. He's still chopping. Why is he going yes? That's a failure. He's getting chopped. Why is he? Yeah, no, you're chopped. You lost. You didn't plate your plate. Nobody's going to taste your food. You lost. Why are you happy? So it's a stupid commercial. I'm just saying. Yep, another one that bothers me. There's a young girl watching an elderly woman on the park bench, and the woman is feeding birds. It's an Amazon commercial. She's feeding the birds out of her hand, and the girl is watching, and she is in awe of that. She wants that too. And I understand it, because I have bird feeders all over the place. Well, not all over the place. If you don't count the trees that are also natural bird feeders, and the stuff that they drop in the berries, that's natural. I'm talking about, I have 2 bird feeders. One in the front, one in the back. And the reason why I have 2 bird feeders is because we used to have a cat, an apex predator, and he had wiped out or chased away half the bird population in our neighborhood, single-handedly. And the rabbits and squirrels and mice, snakes, pocket gophers, which I had never heard of before until Ali started bringing them home, or pieces of them home. I never even knew there was such a thing as a pocket gopher. Voles, moles, they're gone. And once we had to put Ali down, in his honor, I wanted to give back to the community, to the animal kingdom. So we bought bird feeders, and we put them in the front, we put them in the back, and we're trying to get the birds back into the neighborhood that Ali had wiped them out. I mean, we can't bring them back to life, but we can help them procreate and give them places to stay and stuff like that. So, I know what I'm talking about a little bit when I'm talking about the bird feeders and liking to watch them and spend time with them and enjoy them from a distance. I don't feed them by hand. Matter of fact, I don't want them on my deck. They shit all over the furniture. I don't want them on my car. They shit on the car. I keep them out there in the front and backyard, away from the house, and I have a little bird bath or bird pond out back. again, as part of Ali's grave, his memorial park, and it has water so they can drink. And the funny thing is, now, if he has a ghost, he must be frustrated as hell knowing that all those birds that he would have eaten alive are just hanging around his grave site right now, just eating seed and drinking and being happy and telling stories about how they got away from Ali. It must be really pissed them off. That's beside the point. This girl is watching this elderly woman feed the birds, and she's, I'd like to do that. The woman sees the girl seeing her and says, I like the fact that you admire what I'm doing, and I'm going to help you do what I do. And what does she do? She sends the girl a bird feeder. Or was it a birdhouse? Bird feeder. Okay, the feeder is not what's doing it. Okay, it's the food. And that's also the expensive part, because once you buy a feeder, it's there. You don't pay for it again. You don't have to replace it. My bird feeder, the one in the front was like $10 bucks. The one in the back was like 13 bucks. That's it. I paid for them months ago. That's it. You know what the expensive part is? The seed. And you know what the birds are in her hand, coming to the lady's hand for? The seeds. That's the expense. Why did the woman send her an empty container? She should have sent her the seeds. That's what the girl needed, the seeds. The birds aren't coming to the lady to say, hey, you have an empty bird feeder? You have an empty birdhouse? No, they're going, you got seeds? Give me them seeds. That's what they were there for. That's what the woman should have gotten her. That's why it's a dumb Amazon commercial. The girl still doesn't have what she wants, which is to have birds eating out of her hand. I'm going to tell you about the time that I ran faster than Usain Bolt. Okay. Follow me here. This is science. This is true and sciencey. Okay, I ran faster than Usain Bolt. Okay. Usain Bolt's top speed is 27.79 miles per hour over a 1.61 second span. That's because when you're running your race, you don't run it all at the same speed. You speed up, you slow down, you speed up and slow down. And his top speed was 27.79 miles an hour, and he maintained that for 1.61 seconds. In 1976, my top speed was 25.33 miles per hour over a 1.1 second span. I can do the math. I know that 25.33 is slower than 27.79 miles per hour. But now I'm going to do the science. Usain Bolt was geared up to maximize his speed, okay? He has special trainers. They probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on his trainers over his career. He has a special, he wears a specially designed tracksuit that makes him aerodynamic. Okay, it's super slick. It's like wearing silicone, or or a good lubricated condom. So he just slides right through the air, and the air doesn't feel a thing. Yeah, I think that's what it's like. So he's got a specially designed suit, skin-tight suit, and it's made of some space-age fabric, makes him virtually hairless, okay? And his hair, he has no hair. He's virtually bald. So he's just like a lubricated missile flying through the air. That's it. In 1976, I wore a loose-fitting cotton t-shirt and a pair of Lee jeans, and in 1976, I wore Jack Purcell tennis shoes, and in 1976, I had a huge afro, which acts like a parachute and a bug catcher. And by the time you finish running, you have an extra pound of bugs in your afro, okay? That's called aphrodynamics. For those who are racing and have an afro, it's aphrodynamics. It's the antithesis of aerodynamics. So, by the time I finished racing, I had an additional pound of insects in my hair, which slows you down. So I had the parachute, the cheap shoes, the cheap clothes, the loose-fitting clothes, and it's all acting like a parachute slowing me down. When you factor all of that in, my top speed goes from 25.33 miles per hour to a Barry Allen-like 28.44 miles per hour. Boom! Or sonic boom! Science. That's science. Once you compensate for the the lack of technology we had in 1976, I beat Usain Bolt. And I challenged him. My 1976 legs would challenge his 2021 legs anytime. Next week, I'm going to explain how I'm a better basketball player than LeBron James using Jerry Dynamics, compensating for my age.